A male teacher entered the classroom on roller skates. This was an art teacher with a free spirit, a sense of humor, and someone respected by the students at his school. However, the innocent children sitting in their seats never imagined that he was actually a demon born in Ogaki City, Gifu Prefecture. Kuze Shigehito, born in 1953, grew up in affluence as the son of a wealthy family. Famous for his artistic talent, Kuze studied and graduated from the College of Art at Nihon University, a prestigious and one of Japan's oldest private universities. After graduation, Kuze returned to his hometown and began working as an art teacher at a high school in Gifu Prefecture. Kuze was loved by his students because he was different from other teachers in many ways. Kuze wore flashy clothes, had a witty way of speaking, and often performed antics, such as entering the classroom on roller skates. Moreover, while other teachers were strict and prohibited students from going to cafes, Kuze was not like that. In other words, from the student's perspective, Kuze was an interesting and open-minded teacher, approachable like a friend. However, other teachers' opinions of Kuze were clearly not favorable. They claimed that Kuze seemed to have no reservations about relationships with the opposite sex. He even engaged in physical contact with female teachers, though it never escalated to anything serious. Not long after, Kuze married the daughter of a wealthy doctor's family. Kuze and his wife had 3 children, living a comfortable life with a stable job, a beautiful and affluent wife, and lovely, obedient children. Yet, none of this seemed to satisfy Kuze. By the time their 3rd child could not yet speak, Kuze had gradually become a cold and indifferent husband, showing no care for his family. He even frequently had affairs by converting the art props room at his school into a private space where he would spend the night with other women. In April 1979, Kuze transferred to another high school, and this was when his repugnant acts began to surface. At the new high school, he met his dream student, Kei, a beautiful girl with a bright, innocent personality. Despite being married, Kuze secretly courted her. Before long, Kei fell into Kuze's arms and they began a romantic relationship. However, their relationship abruptly ended when Kei graduated from high school in 1982. A few years after Kei graduated, Kuze and Kei happened to meet in the city. Pretending to care about Kei, Kuze said, "You're easily fooled by people. If anything happens, just contact me." With these words, he handed Kei his contact information. Kuze rekindled his relationship with Kei and introduced her to a modeling agency while she was considering her career path. Kei became a model but was not hired often. Realizing that modeling did not pay well, she left the agency and began working as a cosmetic salesperson. During this time, Kuze remained persistent in finding new jobs for his girlfriend, and eventually suggested a highly lucrative opportunity, working in the adult entertainment industry. Kei's desire to earn money stemmed from her family's poverty, and her dream of opening a store to manage with her mother. Additionally, her younger sister's tuition was a significant financial burden. Because of these circumstances, Kei accepted Kuze's proposal to make money. Thanks to her striking appearance, she quickly became a prominent figure in the adult entertainment scene, earning over 1 million yen per month. Despite her substantial income, she lived frugally. Apart from minimal living expenses, all her earnings were saved for her dream. Kuze exploited this. He told Kei he would save the money for her to help her increase her capital. Of course, this was a lie. However, because Kei trusted and loved Kuze, her teacher, she gave him her bank book and personal seal. Kuze then began squandering the money Kei earned through her work. He purchased luxury foreign cars and expensive watches. The problem was, Kei was not the only victim of Kuze's manipulation. He also committed numerous crimes, exploiting his position as a teacher. If he found a beautiful female student, he would secretly approach her and suggest, "Looking at you, my artistic passion ignites. Would you be willing to be my model? I want to photograph your body. I won't keep the film." Of course, he lied. In reality, he used the film to develop photographs and blackmailed the students, threatening to expose the images unless they gave him money. Those who could not afford to pay were forced to work in adult entertainment establishments to earn money. Around 5 victims were threatened by Kuze during his teaching career. Returning to the present while Kuze was teaching, a woman unexpectedly came to visit him. Her name was Muri, a former student of Kuze. Muri was 22 years old at the time, a year younger than Kei. She said she came to seek Kuze's advice about her love life. As mentioned earlier, Kuze was a well-known teacher, and it was not unusual for former students to visit him for advice after graduation. Predictably, Kuze easily manipulated and slept with the young woman. Not stopping there, Kuze persuaded Muri to work in the adult entertainment industry. Ultimately, Muri quit her stable nursing job and began working at the establishment Kuze recommended. From this point on, Muri began living in the mansion where Kei was also residing. Kuze used both Kei and Muri to make money and satisfy his own desires. Around the autumn of 1986, Kei accidentally discovered that Kuze was squandering her money on extravagant indulgences. Over 2 years, Kuze had spent up to 20 million yen. Upon realizing this, Kei confronted Kuze and demanded a breakup. Otherwise, she would reveal everything to his wife and the school about what he had done. Fearing exposure, Kuze promised to return all the money Kei had entrusted to him, as long as she kept everything a secret. However, Kei still made multiple calls to the school where Kuze worked. Kuze persuaded Kei to stop. Told Kuze that the money didn't matter to her, as long as he went to Tokyo with her. Through these words, it was clear that Kei wasn't concerned about getting her lost money back. She simply yearned to move to Tokyo with him to start a new life. Later, Kei issued an ultimatum, saying that if they didn't move to Tokyo together by mid-month, she would go to his school. At this moment, Kuze decided to take Kei's life. To prepare for his crime, he quietly went to a department store in downtown Gifu to buy a large wooden box, big enough to fit a person. But what was he planning to do with that box and with Kei? On Sunday, October 12, 1986, Kuze drove Kei in his car to the basement parking lot of the mansion. He spiked her drink with sleeping pills and gave it to her. As Kei started to feel drowsy, he said, "No matter what you say, I'm not leaving my wife, nor am I going to Tokyo." Even as she began losing consciousness, Kei panicked, tried to scream, and struggled. However, Kuze, armed with an iron rod he had prepared, struck her on the head mercilessly. Afterward, he wrapped a cord around Kei's neck until she could no longer resist. Thinking she was dead, he placed her in the wooden box he had purchased earlier. But in reality, she was still alive. He moved the box to an empty art room at the school, as it was a Sunday. When he opened the box to check, he was shocked to find that Kei was still alive. Showing no compassion, he tied Kei's hands, stuffed the box with cloth and rags, and nailed it shut. Ultimately, Kei died of suffocation. The next day, Monday, Kuze went to school as usual. The students attended class, unaware there was a corpse inside the wooden box. Initially, Kuze was quite smug about how he handled things. However, it wasn't long before a strange odor began emanating from the box, and he started to feel anxious. Not wanting to risk being exposed, he decided to stage it as if Kei had run away from home. First, he broke into the house Kei used to live in, wiped off fingerprints and moved her belongings to her sister's old house. Muri, believing Kuze loved her, assisted him in committing the crime. Kuze transferred Kei to a different wooden box, took it to an abandoned used car showroom, poured gasoline on the box, and set it on fire. After Kuze left, local residents who witnessed the fire quickly reported it to the police and firefighters. His body was found in the fire, but it was difficult to identify. Meanwhile, Kuze believed he had perfectly covered up his crime. He withdrew 360,000 yen in cash from Kei's bank account and continued teaching as if nothing had happened. According to student accounts, he was even joking and laughing at the time. However, a crucial clue to identifying the body was found: a special key in Kei's pocket, the type only used in a specific building within the prefecture. As a result, The police quickly identified the victim's residence. Additionally, fingerprints left by Kay on some window panes of her home allowed the police to confirm her identity. Before they could find the culprit, the police discovered suspicious information. 360,000 yen had been withdrawn from Kay's account, and Kuzi was the one who did it. The police summoned Kuzi for questioning. During the investigation, he denied any involvement in the incident. He firmly stated, "I don't know anything." However, thanks to the psychological pressure applied during the interrogation, the evidence collected, such as fingerprints, the purchase history of the wooden box, and witness accounts of the cash withdrawal, eventually led Kuze to confess to his crime. Kuze was brought to trial, and the person who assisted in the crime was sentenced to 1 year and 6 months in prison, with 3 years of probation. As for Kuze, the prosecution requested a life sentence. However, the judge, considering that Kuze's parents had provided financial compensation to Kie's family, sentenced him to 15 years in prison. The prosecution argued that the sentence was too lenient and appealed. At the appellate trial, the presiding judge overturned the initial ruling and sentenced Kuze to life imprisonment, reasoning that the financial compensation was essentially just repayment of the money Kuze had taken from Kay. In response, Kuze appealed. But it was dismissed, and he was ultimately sentenced to life imprisonment. In the end, the fallen teacher received the punishment for all his wrongdoings, both his failure as an educator and his transgressions as a human being. While educators are expected to be knowledgeable and mature, Kuze knowingly committed his crimes. For this reason, Kuze and individuals like him deserve strict punishment. They must be doubly punished, both as citizens and as educators, to serve as a stern warning to others who might harbor similar malicious intentions.